Got it. Thank you. So, hi everyone, and welcome to today's augmented reality presentation. I'm going to be sharing with you my screen very quickly so we can get started, and then you'll see exactly what we are looking at here. So, let me share with you my screen, and I'll give myself a very proper introduction and introduce our team as well. So, you should be able to see my screen right about now. And I'm going to go in a full slide mode so you can enjoy it. The full details. Awesome. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us on this webinar. And my goal and the team, or the aim of our team's goal today, is to show you how you can give an unrivaled, rich interactive teaching experience, and get your students to really engage with any of the lessons that you teach without any limitation, even if you feel like you're overwhelmed with responsibilities and all these other expectations from parents, other teachers, and just, when you're dealing with these students around the school. Now, just as we're getting started, one thing to notice is while the aim of the talk is geared towards geography, you may be a geography teacher, you may not be a geography teacher, and you're just wondering about that. But really, there is a lot of takeaway regardless of what you teach in school, whether you are teaching any of the languages, history, or cultural studies, or maybe even if you're just wondering, looking at this on how you can help your parents. The aim is really, it's going to help you if you want to make that lasting difference in your student or kid, to help them learn really, really well, so that you can give them, those necessary skills, values, attitude, and behaviors, and so on and so forth. So we're going to jump in right ahead. One thing you may not know about us, about this whole area of learning and education, is that only 34% of students, kids at school, actually enjoying learning in the schools. And there's a lot of students and kids really in the primary that are left behind. If you look here, the number is 66% of students don't really enjoy being at school and learning there, right? So they feel like they don't fit in, right? So our goal is to help you change that in your classroom. So you're that one good teacher where they feel like in that class, that's when I had fun, that's when I learned, that's when I enjoyed, that's where I belonged, right? Otherwise, it's a very disempowering feeling that they get, right? So today, my goal is to share with you 3 secrets that are going to revolutionize the way you invite your students to engage with any of the lessons that you teach. And if you're teaching in geography, that's the example we're going to be using today. Right now, before I get into that, a little bit about me. So my name is Herbert Innocent, and I am an augmented reality integration specialist. And that's a code word for we make learning fun for students using augmented reality. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. And along the way, we've been lucky, as you can see, we have a team of ambassadors all over the world. And we've been lucky that there's a lot of very good teachers, very good educators globally who also feel the change that they want to make a lasting difference in the student learning globally. So we've been able to help them with many areas of education, schools, and along the way, we have a lot of students who log in every day trying to get to use this platform to get that learning that they so need, but feel like they are not able to get it. And along the way through that journey, we've also been lucky enough to be recognized by many of the large organizations and international bodies, such as Forbes, Inc. magazines, and all these names. Some of them you may know them in this industry of education and so forth and so on and so forth. So now, one question I have for you right here before we get started digging deeper into this concept, I want to ask you just a quick question. What is learning? Comment in the chat. Tell me, what do you think? What do you see learning is? And I'm going to give you like a few seconds there, and then we're going to jump into. This is going to be an interactive session, so feel free to engage with us in the chat. My team will also be helping me with that there. So, what is learning? Now, the dictionary defines learning as the process of gaining new understanding, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitude, and preferences. Right now, these are all very, very important things that makes the quality of the person and all those things that we value in other people, in ourselves, and so on and so forth. So as a teacher, obviously, you want to give your students all these because this is what I'm going to define them as a character, as a person, as they grow up into the world. And so the aim of my talk, of this webinar today, is I'm going to share with you 6 secrets that are going to revolutionize, that are going to, basically these secrets about this process, this learning process, and how you can use them to make that lasting difference in your students' learning experience, right? And the aim is that you're able to impact how they get this new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitude, and preferences, so that they're able to become that person they want to be, but also that you are proud of, right? When they do things great, they don't just win, we also win as the people they look up to, right? Now, one thing you may be wondering at this point is, well, we do have a lot of responsibility and we work with a lot of teachers, and this is something that they say, right? They have a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of things going on within the school community. And what I want to do today is show you how to simplify your teaching, right? Your teaching process, so that you're able to reduce the workload and still get these amazing results. So you're not necessarily doing less, you're actually able to do more, but without feeling all that overwhelm and stress and all that, right? And
Herbert,
now the first secret of
Herbert, we have
yes?
we have the comment on what is learning. It's acquiring new knowledge and making connection with prior knowledge.
Exactly. And making connection is one of those big things that really allows us to understand what it is that we've just gained and how it relates to everything else. Exactly. And so one of the first secrets that I want to share here with everyone here today is the secret is exploration. This concept of exploration and how it relates to learning. And the big idea behind exploration here is that it allows us to build curiosity. I don't know if that makes sense yet, but I'm going to explain as we go, right? And so what do I mean by this? And how does the exploration work? Well, when we are curious, the idea is that we start asking questions about something, right? We start wondering. And when we ask questions, we are ready to learn. We open our minds up to receive the answers, right? And this usually creates these magical moments, right? When you're exploring, it creates these magical moments where we're able to remember. Now, I don't know if you ever think back in your life, you realize that you don't always remember everything, but you always remember these special events where something happened. And those are what Tony Robbins calls magical moments, because we forget a lot of stuff, but those things remain with us, right? And I have one of my own personal magical moment I'll try and share with you there in a second, right? And so from teachers, their experience is that exploration is also a very natural way of learning, because it's how we do that in the real world, right? When children go to play, that's how we learn, right? So that's the idea there. And so my goal for you today is I'm going to make you a promise, and that is I'm going to share with you how you can take your students on a journey to explore, on a safari trip to Africa or to any other destinations, any of the continents on this planet, and so on and so forth. So if I can make you that promise, will you use this to help your students? Would you make me a pledge that, yes, I will use this? If that is the case, type comments in the chat and say, yes, I will use this. I want to know if people who are committed, because I'm excited about this area. I hope you're excited too. And if not, then I have to do something extra to make sure you're with me on this page. Right?
100%. Yes, 100%.
Awesome. We're the action takers. I'm excited. Let's go. So the other thing that I want to share with you, the second secret I want to share with you today is creation. Now, the main thing to think and to understand about this concept here is, as human beings, we love to create. And the idea behind this is we invest a lot of our energy, emotion, and a lot of ourselves into this. It's an extension of our being when we create it. It's something that originates from us, right? And the idea is that it extends our imagination and memories, right? So kids themselves already acknowledge this concept of wanting to create. It's not something new. It's not something we made up. It's there already, right? And when we are creating, we are involving all these other areas for mind that are associated with problem solving, reasoning, experimentation, and interacting with other concepts and so on and so forth, right? And so my goal today is I'm going to make you a second promise, and that is I'm going to show you how to make your students creators of the content that they learn in the classroom. Right now, I made you the first promise there, and this is my second promise to you. So if I make you this promise, if I show you how to easily make your students creators of content, will you use this? Will you use this to help your students create in the classroom? Is that a yes? If you're going to use that, I need another commitment.
Yes, it's a yes.
It's a yes. That's awesome. Let's go. Excellent. I'm super excited. So now my third secret I want to share with you today is collaboration, which is the idea here is that even though we are born learners, all of us are born learners, we want to gain more knowledge. We learn the best when we connect with people that we have something in common with, right? So for example, if you ever remember back, you realize that a lot of the things that you always know, you always say, oh, someone I remember told me this. And there was something that brought you together between that person. There was something of commonality there. Either they're a friend or a parent or someone you looked up to. There's something about them that you liked, that you wanted to learn from them, right? And the idea here
And
is
Herbert, comment
collaborate.
here.
Uh-huh.
People want you to get to the point.
We are getting there. I promise we are getting there. So the whole idea of this collaboration here is that it's basically allows the students to get the meta skills, teamwork, development, friendship. Basically, it allows them to be able to ask for help and to invite others. These skills are important, right? And my goal is in sharing this with you today is so that you're able to take students and put them in an environment where they can interact with each other very, very easily in the classroom without it taking so much of your time or anything like that. And so my third promise is I'm going to show you how to easily do this with your students as well, right? If that makes sense. So now, if you were to do this in the traditional sense, one way will be maybe to take your students on a trip, let's say on a zoo trip. Now, one of the things that you notice is as a lot of teachers that we work with, they say they're very limited budgets and things like that. And that is very, I couldn't agree more with you on that. Without even looking at the cost of the teachers and other things that are involved, just the cost of transport, zoo tickets, and insurance alone, it's quite expensive to take students on a zoo trip. And this is just one thing, it's something that you do once and it doesn't last. So we want to be able to help you make that lasting effect when you're teaching so that they remember a lot of those magical moments, right? And a lot of the teachers that we work with understand that there's a lot of things that are limiting them. You can see here from the primary teachers and science teachers we're working with, they see there's a lot of things, and the reason being is because a lot of the content that they're using is static, it is fixed, right? And sometimes the concepts are very abstract. They're not very easy for the students to engage with. So we really want to make that teaching experience very wholesome and engaging, if that makes sense, right? So with that said, how I'm going to help you do all this is going to be through augmented classroom, augmented reality. Now, and this is going to it's going to enable you to be able to simplify your teach and to deliver your lessons without the need of developing any technical skills or design skills or anything like that. Just as you are with all the content you already have should be sufficient. So what is augmented classroom and what is augmented reality? If you haven't had any experience with augmented reality, it basically combines two things that are, you have the digital platform, which is the screen here. I don't know if you can see the buttons on the screen, and then you have a physical information as well. So it combines two types of information. You have a digital, and then you have the map at the background. This is actually a physical map on the table. And when you bring two types of content together from the digital and the physical world, you're able to get this new information, which the students and yourself are able to interact with it, right? Now, when you bring this in the learning classroom, a lot of things like magic can happen, right? So, and the goal is that you're going to be able to use the three secrets I've shared with you that are involved in the learning process to basically transform your teaching, any subject that you're teaching, and bring it live in the classroom and be able to wow your student. But it will also be very, very simple for you when you are delivering your lesson, if that makes sense, right? So here's an example of a student who is able to basically, now there is no, you won't be able to hear the sound on this, but the idea here is you have a student who is in the classroom and together they're already, they're using, you can see there's a simple map and then there's a tablet and there's a lot of students looking and engaging in this lesson here. And what is happening is their experience is the same as visiting somewhere else, completely different. And I wish you could have heard the sound. We'll find a way in the future to be able to enable the sound here. But the idea here is they're able to, their experience with what they're experiencing in here, it's the same as if they were trying to go and interact with the animals and creatures like that, because you can see the student here, he's interacting with the content. It's not just a video or anything like that. It's something that they can interact with, right? So, and it's very easy even a 5-year-old can do it. That's another concept that I wanted to make it very, very clear over there. So one of the things that may be wondering is, okay, so great, will this work with what I have right now in my school? Well, it works with any computer, tablet, mobile phone, Androids, or Windows application. And there's over 13 languages over there as well. So you are not limited to languages. And there's a lot, there's a library of content, and it's global curriculum based. So if you have any curriculum that you're teaching from your country, you may be wondering, does it fit with what we have? It should be able to fit, and I'll show you all that. And it's tailored for students aged 5 to 12 years old, if that makes sense, right? So, and here again, we have another example here where a student is learning about basically the students are learning to read, but they're learning also about space exploration, right? Interstellar and all that, the solar system. Here you have a physical object which is on the table at the back, and then here you have a student basically reading again in the classroom. So this is the idea there, that you're able to bring this personalized learning experience, but also engage either the entire classroom or individually, depending on what is your objective in your teaching curriculum, right? Now, since you can't hear the video very quickly, I'm going to jump into the next slide. Let's see, I'll have to move this very quickly so we can jump into the next slide. There we go, right? And here you can see there's another teacher who is able to teach math. Now, she's a first grade teacher teaching English. And the idea here is you have this physical object with digital, which is a printout with shapes, right? She's teaching maths, right? But when you bring in the digital information, you're able to transform what the students can engage with here, right, in a second. So as I mentioned, there's a lot that you can do with this content, but that is the idea there, that you're able to really help your student engage with it so that the concepts are no more abstract and elusive to the student's mindsets, if that makes sense. Now, that's a really big word. I just used it, but what I mean is so that everything is simple for them to understand, right? And the idea here is you can take them into any trip around the world, either help them understanding other cultures, other heritages, and things like that. But also, it's the concept this, that your classroom can now be transformed in a moment's notice without having to be preparing anything extensive in advance. And what happens is, even when you give your students just the tablet themselves, they're able to learn without needing any assistance from the teacher, because of how intuitive it is. It's the natural way of learning, if that makes sense. So with that said, let's see if I can jump very quickly to summarizing what I've been coming up to the point here, as you wanted to know what the whole point is. The whole idea here is that you will be able to prepare, manage, and deliver your lessons in a 3D interactive environment, right? Whether you have tech skills or you have no tech skills, it doesn't really matter, right? And the idea here is you'll be integrating augmented reality into any of the subjects that you want to teach, right? And with that said, you'll also be able to take students, take them from their normal static learning environment into even trips around the world, if that makes sense, or outer space, where they're actually exploring and learning information, building those curiosity. And what we do is here at Cleverbooks is we basically take any subject that you're teaching, right, and then bring it live so that the students are able to interact with it physically. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you a very quick demo of how that works for you as a teacher. So if you can still see my screen, this is the platform that I want to share with you today. All right, so when you come here, you can see that's the age range. And as a teacher, you may just have to log in, and then you log in here. I'm already logged in, but when you logged in, you'll be greeted with this dashboard over here, right? Is that a question? Exactly. Okay, so that's in the chat. There's a link there, right? So when you logged in, you'll be greeted with this dashboard over here. And from here, you can see there's a very simple tutorial video. And on this side, you can quickly select one of the applications to get started. But I also want to show you some of the other applications that we have, which are over here. You can see there's several applications that you can use as a teacher, depending on what your objective is. And for today, our objective is to look at geography. So this is the application that we'll be using, right? And you can see this is good for the social sciences. It's good for geology, biology, history, and a lot of other subjects as well. Really, the limits comes to the imagination of the teachers, and what else they feel they can use it for. And you can also combine, mix and match all of these as well. So with that said, when we're looking at the geography, application, to use it, the first step is you will want to basically get this map here. We have a free one that we can give it to you, or you can print out. It's a very huge map. It's about A1 or a little bigger. It's very big. And then you also have to download the app, which is this app here today. So today, if you want to join me on this to try it while we are doing it together, please go to the App Store and then look for the Geography app, either in the App Store or in the Google Play Store. If you want to join me, I'm going to share the name of the app in the chat. Right. So if you want to join me to see this a live demo on your mobile device, simply go to App Store or Google Store and download this, and comment yes if you're downloading it, so I know that you'll be joining us on the demo. If you're not, I will be sharing a web link so that you can also see how it would work if the students were using a desktop. And
People
this
are
map
downloading
here,
as well.
awesome. So, and this map over here, it looks like this. I've opened here on the second screen. It looks like this. It's a very, very big map. Now that you're downloading this, another way to download this app is also just to scan this here, right? So if you want the student to scan this on the big screen on your touch board, on your board, in your school classroom, that makes sense, right? So I'm gonna go here and open the platform for the teacher so that we can see how it looks like. So while that's loading, you can see here on the top, you'll still have access to other things that you may be looking for, like lesson plans and things like that. And I'll explain those in a minute. Awesome. Awesome, Lauren. Yeah, you go ahead and download that and we'll be looking at that. And for anyone who isn't able to download it, we are also going to be going through the online application version. So let me... My loading is slow today. That's exciting. So let's give this a quick few seconds while it's loading. So while it's loading, I'm gonna just go and explain the lessons and how they come together. So I'm just gonna open this up in the new tab and then show you how to access the lesson as well from this let me see. I'm right clicking here. I don't want to close this window.
Too many windows open, probably.
Yeah, usually when I open this window, let me close this presentation since we are done with it for today. And then I'm just gonna, let's see. Yeah, it's taking a while to load. That's strange. Let me see. My browser does not support this. Since when?
You may have
so
to use a different browser.
Yeah, so my browser is acting up. So give me a second while I do this for us. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna open here and just open these lesson plans here and talk through them while I open a different browser and we look at that. And we look at that. So here you can see we have access to several lesson plans that the teacher may want to have access to and to basically present. I don't know if you can still see my screen. You can still see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. So the teacher may want to have access to, and these lessons plans are essentially, so for example, if I go here, on here, so we have, some of these are all different lesson plans made by teachers for different curriculum that they want to teach. For example, this one is in Spain and so on and so forth. This one I think is in the US or something like that. And you can see here step-by-step process for a teacher wanting to run a lesson or something like that, right? And my goal is to show you very quickly how easy it is to run this lesson. But for some reason, my browser is acting up. Okay. We wake up to new things every single day. Isn't it awesome?
I can be a teacher for you today.
Please do that for me, Daria, while I figure this out.
Okay, for those who downloaded the app, if you can.
Can you share your screen? Are you in a position to share
No,
your screen?
I'm on a mobile, so you will have to
Okay.
share the marker. So if you downloaded the app, you need to join the class with this code.
So why is it? Let's see, what browser should I use? Browsers do I have? I've just realized I always use one browser for so long. I didn't. I have never remembered this.
And for those who are using that on desktop, if you can, or laptop, you can use this link. So you can try to use the link. All right. Now, if you can share the marker of the world map, and those who are using the mobile device, if you can.
So this is the marker.
Yeah.
Let me open let me share a PDF version so that we can actually see it better. So that's a PDF version there.
So that's all good. So if you point, if you join the class, and if you can point, show to your camera on the mobile device what the picture that Herbert shows to you on the screen, you will see the planet Earth. And if you can just, put a plus in the chat so you can see that, and you can and it appears to you in the augmented reality, let us know. And on the right hand side, beautiful, right on the right hand side, you can see different menus which you can click. And interact. So maybe Herbert, you can also click the link that I put for the class in the chat, so people who are not using any devices, they can see what you do. Let's see if
my browser is actually not supporting WebGL. I have no idea at all.
Interesting. Was supporting it yesterday, but not today.
I know.
Time to restart your PC.
I think I have to restart my PC and maybe even update the entire browser thing. Now, this only happened this morning because I was actually working with this last night, which is very weird. But these things happen. And the strange thing is my other browser is also not opening. So I'm thinking I really have to update them. As in, I have to maybe restart the PC or something like that.
That's all right.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing we can still continue. Do you want us to show when we are showing how it works in the desktop for any of the participants who maybe didn't get a chance to join using the mobile app, so they can see as well later afterwards?
Let me see if I can share my screen then.
Okay, so I'll have to stop sharing here so you can share.
Okay.
You should be able to let's see.
The link will not work on the phone. On the phone will work only the code.
Yeah.
This one.
So I'm gonna stop sharing here so you can share.
Yeah,
okay?
I can share my screen. So there you go. So
okay, awesome.
Yeah, so as a teacher, I can show you the Earth, and this is what you can see on the desktops. And in parallel, all the students are able to do this on their laptops or any other devices. So you can see here on the right-hand side different different options for the menu, where what you can see and what you can do with the Earth. And as a teacher, I'm right now transmitting this content to you. And you're able to see what I'm showing to you. This is the time zones. This is the magnetic fields of the Earth. So you're able to zoom in and zoom out. And that's what you're able to see on different devices. So Herbert, giving this screen over to you so you can share other apps and show how it works without the demo today, but that's fine.
Okay, so if we go to the other apps, if you go to the other apps, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here, and then we'll have a look again. So thank you for that, Daria.
No worries.
So if we go to the other apps here, you can see that we have several apps. Now, since my screen isn't, I'm just going to explain a little bit some of a few different key differences in them is, so for example, in the geography there, you saw there was content. But as a teacher, if you go here, you may want to see, well, what else can I do for my students with that content? So you may create your own maybe lesson plan, and the lesson plan in this case, we just mean something that may look like this. It has a few objectives of what you want to teach your students, a few key steps to, deliver that lesson, and maybe a question that may put in a test or a quiz. And this is an example of what Miss Amanda from the US from a school in the US did with the classroom. And you also have additional resources. Now, this is for the grades that she's teaching, and these are animal defense mechanisms. And the app she's using in this case is this augmented reality classroom mobile application, as well as the mobile app and the iPads. That's what she's going to be using. So you can see you can do that very quickly. You can either create your own lesson, or there's a plethora of lessons in here that other teachers have already created, and you can just grab one of those. Once you have one of those, let's say in the maths area, then you're really good to go, depending on what level you're teaching. Now, at this point, you probably have a question, well, what if I'm teaching on a different curriculum, and that we have a different curriculum outlines here? So if you wanted to know how that fits with your curriculum outline, you can just come here and choose which of your curriculum you have, and then you can select that. It will rearrange the lessons for you to have access to over there, right? So with that said, one thing I want to show with you is the other difference in these applications that we have for you here. So if I click here and then we look at all these apps, right? So the one we've been looking so far is the geography app. This here is a mathematics, the geometry app, but it works very similar, just the content in the mathematical discipline. And this here is the ARC space. It's really for solar system and interstellar and a little bit of engineering in there, engineering, problem solving, thinking. That will also work similar to this, but it's in regards to those type of area over there. Now, when we come here, this is where you'll be able to essentially have your students become creators of content. So it may be that you're teaching history, but instead of wanting your students to just sit down and listen, you want them maybe to recreate a historical site, how maybe people in ancient times lived and things like that. This is where they're able to come together, right? All students on their own different devices, but they're actually all creating in one virtual environment. And by that, what I mean is they'll all be working in one space, creating something together, even if they're working from different devices, collaborating together and co-creating, if that makes sense, right? And then with this app, what you're able to do is to make your tests come live. And I'm going to walk in there and just show us very quickly, what do I mean by that? This app works different with the others in that you'll create your content on the web, on your PC, but to have your students engage with it, you'll have to download this app on the devices, and then you can they can start engaging with the test. Now, to create your own test, quiz, or something of that nature, or exercise, or maybe if you're teaching a language, you can come here and either select what other teachers are already creating and using in the similar classrooms, right? Depending on the age range you're teaching and the language and the ease as well. You can select based on that. There's plenty from here. Or you can create your own. I'm going to show you, you can create your own from scratch, or I'm going to show you what I have already, mine here. So, and you can also collect one from one of the teachers. And then once you have it as your own, you can also edit a little bit, maybe add extra depending on the level of difficulties or age that you want to have. So let's say I want to teach about animals, and this is what I want to do. And I just realized I've created these questions, but I wanted to add another question. It's very, very simple. If you can type, point, and click, you can definitely do this. So you just add your questions and something like that, and then add your answer choices. And then to add an augmented reality element or an object, you simply click here and you have a choice. There's plenty of choices. But if you don't find any, or maybe you want to use something from the book, or maybe something from online, you can also just upload an image here. There's plenty. There is so many. You literally wouldn't run out of options, if that makes sense. And the way this would work then with the students. So let me go back here and show us how this would work then when the students are interacting with this quiz. The concept of Pokemon Go, right? So if we look at here, we'll see students trying to basically interact with content that the teachers created. So let's see here an example. You see here, there's a student walking around with a mobile device. They are pointing and this is what they see. When they see that, a question comes up. Now, what is this called? They select a building, it's a wrong answer, the right answer came up, right? And then they're looking for the next question, they find the object, and then the question pops up once they found the object. What is this code? So you can see you can do this with a lot of things. Really, it comes down to your choice, how you want to use it. And it can become a language teaching tools. And some teachers are already using that to teach language, or you can teach very concepts, or maybe even give tests to students, if that makes sense, right? So that's how you'd use the ARC Quest app. And then with these other apps here as well, you can use to bring augmented reality, such as the ARC textbook, where you'll bring your textbook information live, or this building block game. So at this point, I've been going really fast, and I'm curious, do you have any questions that I may have to answer? Or would you like me to answer before we continue? Any questions at all? Type them in the chat there and then we'll look at them.
Not that I see at the moment, but maybe later.
Okay, awesome. So,
oh, there is a question. Can you show how to create new history lesson with IRC Create app? By the way, if you want to try it out right now, I will put in the chat how you can, where you can download the app. And while Herbert will create a couple of questions on history, maybe historical buildings or something like 3 questions, we can play together. So while Herbert will show you how to create, I will send you the links where to download the app.
So when you're using this app here, it's going to be a virtual environment, right?
Hold on a second, one more question. It seems mostly pitched at high school level or older children. Are these things for younger children? And there is a difference in apps, although it looks great. So the content, we have the pre-created contents, like in geography you have seen, which could be used with younger children, but the test itself, it could be aligned to any educational level as well. The IRC Create that Herbert is right now showing is applicable to any level as well. It depends on how you as a teacher will facilitate. And Herbert, I want you to show how we can use the IRC Create or IRC Quest for the purpose of testing. So I will send the links to download the apps, and you can create the test so people can see how it's actually coming live.
Awesome. So I have a test here.
1 second, another question. Does our classroom integrate with other LMS systems? Yes, it does. There is a simple link on how to do that as well. Herbert can show it at the end. So let's go for the IRC Quest.
Okay, so here when you're looking, this is the app. Are we downloading this app? Type yes if you're downloading this so we know we can. So this is the app. I'm just going to put the name in the chat there. And then once we've done downloading it, we are downloading it, yes? And then once we've done downloading it, I'm just gonna go here. And this is a test that we're gonna try and use. It has a few things, right? So you can see here, we have this one here. Right? So let me just make sure I can see my full screen. Okay. So this is this test.
I can
And
be
by the way,
I can be a teacher here, and
yeah. Can you go ahead, please?
Yeah. So once you downloaded the app itself, I want you to use this code 3ZTD when you're joining the class, and I will enable the test for you so you can then turn your camera around the room where you are to see how the test is working.
And for this one, we won't be able to show you on this screen simply because it will, as I mentioned, it works for the mobile device. So I can create the content on the desktop or on the laptop, but to launch it, it has to be on the app. Now I can't invite you because my.
That's okay. I will be doing that. So I already posted the code.
So Dario is saving me on that. So in case you're wondering why is he not doing that, my.
Yeah, that's all good. All good. So now I have 2 students created. Can you please, guys, let me know if anybody else wants to join this quick test? If you can put plus so we can wait for you. 3 people, okay.
And the code for the app is in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, so when you're joining, you use the code for the app. So I have 3 students so far. So let's go with these 3 students and hopefully you guys will share then how it worked for you. Okay, so I'm gonna enable the test for you.
Do we want to show them how you're doing that on the?
I logged with the code, beautiful.
Do you want to show them how you're doing that on the screen here?
I don't have mobile connected, so.
Okay.
Okay, so now you have the test. So now once you you should have the test popping up. So you need to walk to turn the device around till you find the object and then answer the question.
Let me see if I can find a way to show my screen.
I see. As a teacher, I see the actual progress, and I see that people. I see those who found the objects and answers, the number of questions they answered. Very good. So I obviously see your nicknames that you used in the chat. So perfect. And as a teacher, you're obviously able to create similar tests, and then you will see the progress of the students right on your screen and what they are doing. So and then you can cheer up. So Rajesh, you haven't found any objects yet.
So keep rotating, looking around. That would be the best way. So don't limit your movement. Try look around, maybe behind it, could be behind it, could be 300 degrees in one direction. So it basically encourages movements, right? for the students so that they're engaging their whole being in learning.
And you can use them inside the classroom, outside the classroom, remotely, anywhere. So it's good. As you can see, we're all in different countries and different locations, and it works for all who join the test.
And for anyone who missed it, this is what it looks like. I don't know if everyone saw that. This is what it looks like on the students' devices. Right? They're walking around looking for the answer, looking for the questions.
Brilliant. So I see one person even finished. So I'm going to end that for everyone. And if you can please share, not recognizing in your room, you will need to have the separate demo session with Herbert. It definitely works. You just probably didn't do enough of movement. So those who were using the app, can you please share your thoughts in the chat?
Yeah. So, and did we have any other question with this? And by the way, this is a quick demo as well when you're doing it for yourself, or if there's other questions we have usually in here. And we also have our contact us with the teachers with any of the teachers that we work with. Anytime they have a question, you can also reach out to us via contact. And we had another thing that we were supposed to discuss, if I remember correctly, was that ARC create, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the ARC create, one thing that you notice is there is no any printed or printouts needed, but it's a virtual environment. And this is the mobile app version. And this is the web version. So I'm going to try and show you the web version again. I don't think it's going to show on my screen. It's not going to show on my screen. So Daria, are you in a position to share your screen maybe in how this one works? Because mine is, I have to update it before I can actually show anything. So the idea here with this virtual environment, basically, it's once you have, let's say, opened the app,
Albert,
it's gonna, yes?
A quick note here, so maybe you can show this now. People are interested how you can create new lessons that are not present in the library. Like
how you can create
new
lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as in, how do you do that? Is it?
Yeah, probably create new lessons, and you can also show the IRC create, and then you can go back to showing how you can create new lessons.
Okay, so if I wanted to create a new lesson, I would go to lesson plans, right? And I can either grab one of the lessons that one of the teachers have already created, or to create my own, I would just go here and start creating a lesson. My name is Herbert. Now, I was already doing this previously, so some of my details are pretty much easily filled. So maybe I want to teach about the solar system. This is what I would just type in here. And then my subject is going to be something to do with planets, something to do with sciences, right? And then it's going to be, my school uses maybe a grade system. In Ireland, we don't, but I just picked just to show you can choose that. And maybe it's let's say it's grade 5, right? And then how long is my lesson? My lesson is going to be, maybe I just have 25 minutes, and then I want to switch it up, right? And I want to use the ARC space because that's I need to use the ARC for the planets. I need to use the ARC geography. I need to rename. And then for any additional resources, maybe I have a YouTube video. I'll put a link here to the YouTube video, or maybe I have some other images. I'll put another one in there. And then I'll type in what my lesson objectives are, right? So maybe I want them to learn about the Earth's layers. So if I'm going fast, it's because I already pre-typed this, but you can see it's very simple, right? Be able to name the Earth's layers. Maybe I want them to know the difference between them. And maybe I also want them to know what causes volcano. I may even give them a project about volcanoes afterwards. And there's actually a lesson plan about volcano already created in there. I may use that later, right? So, and then the activities that I will have to do is, well, I will need the geography map that I showed you earlier, which is this map here, right? Then I'm gonna go back here and then I'm gonna have to download the apps to the devices. And then I'm gonna have to put the link on the touchboard, maybe, or on the board, something like that, right? And then I'll need to open the world map, or so, and by open the world map, I mean on the teacher's screen, right? It's the same. Now, these are the things that I was showing you, but when you're going through them, you'll see what I mean by when you're going through them. It's essentially just the first steps that you go through to open the app, right? And then the next thing here is I'll have to open the tab where the Earth is, just so to show them where the Earth is and everything like that, right? And then from there on, what questions do I want the students to know the answers to? What, right? So maybe what is the hottest layer and what is the thickest layer? And maybe which layer has the plates? And what is geothermal? Just a big word for them to know for the end of the day. And then once I am done, right, it's going to submit in there. It's going to go to my email, but also my team is going to process that as well. And the next time you join here, you'll find on your lesson plans in the geography section that relates to that particular area, if that makes sense. So that's how I would create my lesson plan. And when I'm done creating it, it's going to really look something like this when I showed you here, right? It's going to have objectives. It's going to have a few simple steps. I made it simple. And then it's going to have a few quick questions and any additional resources. I had a YouTube video link and so on and so forth. And there's always additional resources here as well that the teacher can avail to. Does that make sense now, how you'd create a very quick, simple, very, very quickly create a lesson plan? Does that make sense? Does that answer the question?
Thanks for the explanation for creating the lesson plan, but can the teacher create a new AR experience that is not present in the library? So you need to show.
Oh, 100%, 101,000%. One way to create a new AR experience is, okay, there are so many ways to do this. How do you go about this? Let's take, for example, you want to teach your students. Basically, anytime you're teaching using this, you're really going to be creating a new AR experience in most cases, unless you're using what's already been done. And the reason being that you'll be actually creating a new AR experience is simply because with these here, we have laid the basic foundation for you. It's like building blocks. And then you can combine those building blocks. Does that make sense there when I say that? So for example, when Daria was showing us now the reason why I'm not going into details with this is because when I go to try and open the map if you want, but when Daria was showing us how the Earth and its elements works, you can see that there were a few elements there, but what she didn't show as well is there were other options where you could select a few other things, and you have the opportunity to combine those other things with your lesson plans. It's really like a mix and match, right? So for example, if you wanted to create a new AR experience, you have the opportunity to use the quest or create. And with the create, basically you can get your students to create the new AR experience, or you can have them engage together given the task that you've given them. One example is, let me see if I can see on the lesson plan if there's an example. These are actually examples of teachers creating new AR experiences that were not in the lesson plans, that we did not give them at all, if that makes sense, right? So none of these were in here. These teachers came in and then created, let's see if I look at this one here. This teacher, this is the lesson plan, right? She said she will use, I don't know if it's a he or she, who is it? They didn't put their name, but they decided that they will use this app, and right? to basically teach. And this is the new AR experience that they will give their student. And that'll be to teach them 3D geometry. We give them the basic tools, which is there's a few elements, but it's up to them how they combine them. So as a teacher and your students, you become the creators. We're really just giving you the basic tools to lay the foundation, and you can build from there. Am I making sense when I say that?
Yes, building blocks make sense. Can you show the IRC Create app to show how you can create the contents?
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask Daria for help with this because my computer is so smart than me today.
It's not opening again?
It's still not. I need to restart it. Daria, should I stop sharing here? Maybe we can see through your screen how you
Just
go
give me
through
a
that.
second. Give me a second. Okay. I just need to log in. Just give me a second.
Of course. So yeah, in terms of your questions, in all these lessons, you'll be using the basic elements that we have put for you, and then you will be creating a new using unless we are using lesson plans already made by another teacher. And by the way, these are the language options. If you're ever wondering how are the language options, they are here.
Yeah, so I have shared my screen. So you can see the IRC Create. You can either explore the app as a teacher, or you can assign it to the class if you want to invite several students to join your class. So it's going to be working the same way. So as a teacher, I have the code for those who are joining mobile devices, and I have the link for those who will be joining on desktops. So as a teacher, I have different projects. I have the opportunity to create the projects and save them for myself only, or I can share the projects with other teachers if I want them to use it. So that's an example where you open. So this is the creation of the project. I can select different landscapes based on the type of the scenario you select. Could be history, it could be geography, it could be anything, could be learning about the city, for example. You have here city, you have Arctic, you have garden, you have island, you have Christmas scene, you have forest and river, historical scenes, travels to Mars, seaside, Western, moon, and so on. So once I select the option, I can assign it to the class if I invite the students, and I want multiple people to go in there, or I can do it myself only. So this is, I have the scene of Mars. So on mobile devices, it will appear exactly in your room rather than on the desktop. So I'm showing you on desktop. You have here different objects that you can place and use. So for example, I want to put a penguin on Mars because I want that. So it's a real size of the penguin in that sense. So I want to put elephant close to the penguin. Then I decided that I want to build something on Mars and put the buildings. Like I can zoom in, zoom out, and put it on different places. I can build different stations. So wherever your imagination goes in that sense, or the students, and then they can build those projects together. So when there are several students inside the same classroom, you can see here all of them popping up. So here is only me, but there will be others popping up. And they can see the actions of each other when building something together as the scene. So you can obviously share this project with others. Like I can have the link, copy the link, and then I can send you that link. And if you want to join and build this with me together, so I can save the project also as for myself or for others. So that's pretty much how you can create different experiences. And you can see here the farm life, the city where you learn about the city zones. Here, somebody was recreating the battles and different scenes, Christmas, and so on and so forth. So there are different opportunities. Yeah.
And can I add a comment there? So one of the things that we've noticed as well is the teachers would also use the ARC Create to teach language as well. Now, the way some of the teachers were using that is that actually give students written instructions and try to see, can they follow those written instructions and actually do that, right? So that's one way the teachers have used that to teach a language, or the alternative was giving the students a scenery and then asking them to basically speak out, right, in a language that they're learning how the objects are placed and things like that. So really it comes down, that's another way of you creating a new learning experience that is not already in here, but also you're combining it with them as well. So you can see that the application really depends on your use and your intentions and how you go about it, your approach to the subject, and really your creativity, if that makes sense. And you don't have to be creative. Like there's a lot of examples. There's a lot of lesson plans we didn't show you in there as well that you can look at. Did you have any other questions that we didn't look at?
I don't see any other questions so far. So we're a little bit over time. So I think you can give some guidance how people can try it out. And once you register, you have the options to try the solution and also to get in touch with Herbert. I will put his email if you're looking for more extensive demo for you specifically.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you wanted to try augmented classroom with your students, we can give you the map and an app that you can try, so that once you've had the experience and you feel you're confident with it, you can then go full on board with using this with your classroom, or maybe even sharing it with your school. Now, if that is something that you feel will be of use to you, it's something that we can do for you. We can give you that. It's going to be a very good geography app that you can use with the map. All we'll do is we'll ship you the what do you call that? The big world map, which I was talking about here. It's about A4. Let me see if I can share that with you. It's about, I have a tendency to open so many tabs. I don't know if you can see it. So here you can see how it would work in the classroom. It's about this size. It can go on a wall as well. It's very, very huge. And this is how you put your code on the teacher had them on the board there. And then the students are interacting on multiple different devices, from desktops all the way to iPads and so on and so forth. And the students are engaging with it there. So you can see how that would work in a classroom. So if you wanted to get started, we have actually done something to help you get started, which is we'll send you this app. All you have to do is you have to cover the shipping, and we'll send you the app, and we'll give you for unlimited use the app for this map as well, the RC. So you can experiment with it. You can experience that with your classroom and have that first-hand experience and see first how it works. And then once you feel like you're ready with it, we can also extend it to you to give you the full augmented classroom experience where you can teach any other subject. Now, as I said, this will be available for you for free, or you can buy it. It's quite huge, as I said, as you can see here. You can you can use that in front of the classroom, or you can use that on the desk, where you can get the students to basically gather around together and start working on it, working and engaging that augmented reality. It's just an option that is available to you, or you can buy it again. It's also available on Amazon, or you can get it for free from us. I wanted to present that to you there as an opportunity to get started, because that's the barrier, right? Once you overcome that, you feel confident, you can use augmented reality as well. Did I make sense when I was saying that? Because I felt like I was just rambling.
No, all good. All good.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you have any more questions?
We don't. I shared your email if anybody wants to have a personal demo with Herbert and maybe involve the kids, so you can do that in the classroom all together and see how it works. Feel free to reach out to him.
Awesome. Yeah. So thank you everyone for your time. I hope this was able to help you, and I hope that it shows you that you can quickly transform your teaching, as I promised, transform your lesson and be able to take your students on their augmented reality trips. And in this case for free, because we're giving you the map and the app to get started. So unless you have any other questions, that's from us. Get it because it's available for limited. There's only, I don't know how many you can actually give for free. Get it while it's there. Once it's gone, it's something that it's just won't be there. Once it's gone, right? But yeah, if you have any other questions, do feel free to reach out to us. We are here to support you and to really help you in this area, because we know what you do is you're going to do a lot for the students, and we just want to be part of the team that supports you, like the other teachers that we support.